Friday, there was an NRA banquet. Only 4 of us that made it in. And we were dressed, nicely, because it was a nice banquet for the NRA. And the reason we were going was because McCain, so the 6-footer with the picture got up early because they were kind of asking her to leave, so she needed to get up. And she just charged right up in front of the cameras and held it up. And because she's tall, she was able to move it away. There's a great C-SPAN going on it. And she was moving it away, and they were trying to grab it, and she's yelling the whole time. And I just held it up, and we were in the back corner, which was kind of, we strategically wanted to be so we'd have more time to get out as we go to the door. And, they're just really yelling at you then at that point. And this guy's yanking it away, and this woman's in my face, you are not welcome here. I knew what I was going to chant, and he was talking about the rights, rights to bear arms. And my chant was, Iraqis have rights too, and the occupation. Iraqis have, and I just said that all the way to the front door. And this big guy yanked on my arm, they yanked my thing back, and he's leading me out, and I just go out yelling it the whole time. And my partner's over here yelling the whole time. And it was very scary. I'm not really into just jumping up and interrupting people. It's not my, well, it kind of is my style sometimes, but to be in an area surrounded by, people that really don't want you there.
Yeah.
It was unnerving, but it was okay because
troops in Iraq.
Yeah, right. We heard again that McCain and Lieberman were going to be speaking to veterans, Veterans for Freedom. I'm trying to keep all these groups straight. Veterans for Freedom. They were having a rally in the Upper Senate Park. And we thought, oh, that's a good opportunity to go. Who wants to go? And we're already there, a lot of us. We start convening there, along with Answer Coalition, along with Healthcare Not Warfare. That's a whole other lobbyist group that was there. Would target people. The one woman who always reads the Constitution just stood there and read the Constitution loudly, and they targeted her. And they zeroed in on me because I was not being quiet. And I said, what are you going to arrest me for? They said, you're yelling too loudly. And I wasn't going to walk to the paddy wagon. I was going to make them carry me. And I'm pretty strong, and I've done gymnastics, so I just tightened up my shoulders, because otherwise they can really trash your shoulders, because they handcuff you. And if they do it really tight, you can't move. So they put you down, and I just fell to the ground. And I wanted to tuck my Constitution and something else in my bag, and they said, no, and I just did it anyway. And they handcuffed me, and carried me to the paddy wagon, where I was not read my rights. They did not tell me what they were arresting me for. They did not say anything. So I went to jail. The 4 of us were all in the same jail. I was there 8 hours. And, fingerprinted, mugshot. And I chose to, there's different ways of getting out. I chose to pay $50, and it's called forfeiture, where I said I'll pay that if I'm not guilty, and so that I'm not saying that I'm guilty, nor guilty. So they're basically saying, you're just saying you're not coming to court. It's not that you're guilty or not guilty with this. So that was the one I chose, because coming to court meant going back October 9th, and I couldn't do that. I would have if I were on the East Coast. The other 2 are going to do that. They're going to take it to court. All over the city in D.C., we live in a working class neighborhood, and they're like, ooh, CodePink, you rock, girl, you rock, girl. They're just, they know CodePink really well in D.C., and they're very enamored, or I'm not sure if that's the right word, but they're supportive. Yeah, and it's the gutsy piece. People are not speaking up like we need to. That we truly need to. I can't tell you how sheepish so many Americans feel, and how fearful they are, and bought into the terrorism piece, and we can't let that happen, because it is our country, and this is an unjust.
I think an important thing is to support the IVAW, the Iraqi Veterans Against the War, and the IVAW.org. I mean, these guys are brave, but they just need the
and Veterans for Peace, but the IVAW, those vets need a lot of support. And then there's the power or something to resist, power to resist,
courage to
resist. Put one of these on every letter that goes out of my house, and I don't know how many hundreds of people see it, but they do. People see it. I mailed 5 letters today that go out of the state.
What is that?
It's United for Peace and Justice. I got 500 of these. It's a sticker. And I put it on the back of every envelope and package I send, you know. I put it on all my bills, I put it everywhere. I put it on all the things in town, all the places where you put posters. Sometimes they get taken down, but I have 500 of them, and every day I check by and I put them up. It's like $10 for 500 or 1,000. Where I do it every night. Now we have a little stamp that says "Impeach Bush" that we put on all of our dollar bills.
Oh, ooh, I like that one.
Not for everybody, whatever, but that's something off our website. Getting the opt-out, making sure it's in every school. And this is what our school district was able to do legally. We couldn't do an opt-in, but doing the counter, it sounds like you all have been doing that here. But the counter recruiting and educating our kids, making sure that the kids have this in a good place in their pamphlet at the beginning of the year, in their booklet. And it's where they opt out so the recruiters aren't hounding them. And it's legal, it's the way we can do it. I'm on the school board in Colston, and we check with our lawyer. And so I've been working with my history teacher a little bit. I gave him Howard Zinn and check on what kind of literature is there, and make sure they're seeing movies and reading international and national real news and stuff like that. You know, check with your school and your school board. There's also Leave My Child Alone website. That's where I got them off of. If you want to write a letter to your school board, they actually had samples of that. On that, and then also in the Friends service. Are you all are there friends here? So they have a lot of literature they've put together, and this I have in the school council office, and I put it up on the boards around too. And then when I'm counter recruiting, when the Army they don't come to our school very much, so there's not much of that in Quill because we only have 20 graduates, but.
And apparently aren't doing real well anyway here. So.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so glad to hear they're not getting any recruits from the 2 counties.
Yeah. Front page, they're putting out $20,000 offers and nobody's biting. Cool. That's incredible.
That's good. That's good. So these are Friends Service is a great resource for a lot of different literature. You know, Democracy Now! Everybody knows about that probably. Amy Goodman, correct. And what I do when I travel, I call all the radio stations. Wherever I am, and I ask them to put this on. Why don't you have this? This is the best unembedded news, and it's, you know, wherever you go, you can be a squeaky wheel. You know, I travel with this, I go travel with that around the world. That's my suitcase. And it's interesting things sometimes, you know, you got to be up for it. But I've done that since the war. Actually.
Updated every flight.
Yeah, I used to have the number dead and the number of money spent. I change it depending on what, but. I'll tell you, thousands of people read it. Thousands of people read it. And you get every reaction you can imagine. Another good idea that people might want to consider is creating a banner. You can go to Goodwill and get sheets for $1 or $2, and you just cut them, you know, midway, whatever size you want, depending on where you want to put it. And you can take old house paints, write down whatever. You usually try to have one in the car. Put duct tape on the corners, and then put a hole through it and put strings. Pine cones at the bottom so that they're weighted, because if it's rocks or something, that if it were on an overpass. We defend the Constitution, we're the pink police. We defend the Constitution and we defend free speech. Can't you hear the people shouting? It's become a roar. Can't you hear the people shouting? Time to end this war.